everyone. It is now 49 minutes past the hour. Time for the final segment of the Eat, Drink, Explore Market Fresh Hour. Keep in mind, there's another whole hour of great food, great craft beer, wine, travel, and tourism talk Sundays 5 to 9 right here on this station. For the segment today, we're taking a look at farmers market trends, specifically a successful program instituted this summer in Santa Cruz at the markets run by the Santa Cruz Community Farmers Markets Organization. You can find more information at SantaCruzFarmersMarket.org. They're called pop-up breakfasts, and they are a huge success. You may remember, within the last decade, you've seen these pop-up restaurants in San Francisco and some other hip foodie cities spring up around the country where local chefs want to do something a little different, a little something outside their typical menu, highlight their talents in a way so they find a community place where people can come together. This is the first I've heard, anyway, of this taking place at a farmer's market, and I love the idea of it happening at breakfast time. Joining us on the Eat, Drink, Explore live line to tell us more about how they work is Nicole Zom. Welcome to the program, Nicole.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, great to have you here, and I love the idea. I love the program, and apparently I'm not the only one. Looking at your website, it looks like just about every single one of these is sold out except for the final one.
It's true. Yeah, they've been very well received here. There's a lot of support in the Santa Cruz region and nationally right now for local food, organic food, and so I think that's part of why they've been well received.
Now there is one in September, but that one,
yes,
as I understand, is sold out. Is there any kind of a waiting list if people show up at the market and one of the parties doesn't arrive or something, they can be fit in?
We do have a waiting list. That one sold out almost 2 months ago.
Whoa.
But generally speaking, we don't have a lot of cancellations, and we are working at capacity in terms of the space and just keeping the mood and the environment within our goals of the atmosphere so that it still is quaint. It's their kind of the setup of the breakfast is a long family-style table, and so we don't want to go too high in our numbers because we'll start losing some of that intimacy that is created at these breakfasts.
Keep it manageable and keep the community in Santa Cruz community farmers markets, right?
Yeah.
Now, the one in October, what's the date of that? And at least the last time I checked, it still does have seats available.
Yeah, so that event is at the West Side Market in Santa Cruz, and it's on October 5th. And we do have those are selling out pretty steadily, but we do have about 20 spots left for that breakfast.
Great. So I'm curious where you got the idea for this. Did you see it at another market here in California or somewhere in the U.S., or did you just come up with the idea yourself?
Yeah, no, none of the partners involved had ever heard of a pop-up breakfast happening at a farmer's market, but there are many farms in this region that do farm dinners. Mm-hmm. And so the director of Santa Cruz Community Farmers Markets, Nash Dillon, he's worked for the association for about 10 years. Breakfast is his favorite meal, and most of our markets take place in the earlier hours of the day.
Right.
So he had just had it kind of in the back of his mind as an option at some point. Maybe we would try to do something around breakfast. And then at this Edible Monterey Bay, woman, Sarah Wood, the editor there, approached us because they've supported a lot of different farms and food-related organizations to do these kind of spontaneous pop-up events. And she approached us about doing one, and Nash said, well, this is a great opportunity. We have a connection to a magazine with a lot of reach to try to promote it. And so it was piloted last year, one breakfast at the West Side Market, and it went beautifully. And so afterwards we sat down to a drink together and started plotting out how can we turn this into a series for the coming year, and what are our goals, what do we want it to look like, what is the purpose in terms of education, in terms of fundraising, all those details.
Yeah, that's when the best ideas are hatched, I think, over a drink.
Yeah, right.
So, Nicole, tell me, how did you decide which chefs or local restaurants or purveyors to pair up with for these breakfasts?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so most of the chefs that are being featured at these events we've had long partnerships with them. Some of them have started their businesses. They've been incubated as a small vendor at the farmers market, and over 2 years, 5 years, they've come to have really successful storefronts in town as well. And so we're looking for a skill set, some creativity and spontaneity, because they're not working in a kitchen. They're working in a makeshift kitchen that's set up in a market. So it has to be a chef that can roll with that environment and have fun with it.
Be a little experimental, those sorts of chefs. Hey, in the time we have left, can you give a heads up to some of the market organizers or vendors that might be listening throughout our listenership area for some pitfalls, things you won't do when you bring it back next year?
Let's see. Well, I think one of the struggles is just figuring out the price point, so really spend some time thinking about that. We've tried to keep the ticket price really low because a lot of these farm-to-table events are far beyond like middle-class, low-income people.
Yeah.
And so we want, because it has an educational goal, we want to bring as many people, residents from Santa Cruz, into these events. So just really spending some time thinking about that.
I'm so glad I'm so glad that that's one of the aspects, because the last thing we want to see are farmers markets become more elitist than they may already be. And we want them to. The whole purpose is for the average person to be able to connect with where their food comes from and that sort of thing. It sounds like you use these as an educational tool as well.
We do. We also, well, let me tell you, a couple of the hard parts have just been, one time we had a reservation for 32 tickets or 34 tickets, all from one group, and they showed up late. So thinking about how, if something like that happens, how you're going to still create the intimate environment for the half of the people that have already arrived.
Right.
Some of it is just the troubleshooting that happens on the spots, and then on the spot, and the next time that happens, we'll know how to roll with it. But the timing of the food is really important, so working with skilled chefs that know how to plate up for 85 people, one dish within 5 minutes, that's a big challenge and a big skill. And then in terms of our successes, I think some of the most admirable aspects of the program is that we employ local youth who have been involved in food justice work to work these events. There are farmers available to talk with people at each event.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Nicole Zom with the Santa Cruz Farmers Markets, or I should say the Santa Cruz Community Farmers Markets. Their website, however, Santa Cruz Farmers Market, singular.org. Nicole, keep up the great work. I think it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to try one of these.
Thank you very much, Randall.
All right, everyone. And that does it for the Market Fresh Hour. And another reminder, there is another whole hour of great food, craft beer, wine, travel, and tourism talk Sundays 9 to 10 right here on this station. I am your host, Randall White, saying bon appetit for now.